On the distant planet of Astra Nova, a small human colony had been thriving peacefully for years. The colonists were isolated from the rest of the galaxy, preferring to focus on their research and agriculture. Captain Mira Thorne, the leader of the colony, was proud of what they had built, a self-sustaining world, free from the conflicts that plagued other parts of the galaxy. One day, a distress signal was received from a nearby star system. The signal was weak, but it was clear. An unknown enemy was approaching. The message was simple: prepare for invasion. Mira gathered her team in the command center, their faces pale with fear. "We've never had to fight," she said, trying to remain calm. "But we can't ignore this. We must prepare." As the days passed, the colonists worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses. They were scientists, farmers, and engineers, not soldiers, but they had no choice. They activated old defense systems, dusted off weapons they had hoped never to use, and set up protective barriers around the colony. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Leo Ardent, the colony's only military officer, trained a small group of volunteers. They practiced day and night, knowing their survival depended on their readiness. The enemy, an alien race known as the Skarr, was feared across the galaxy. They were relentless, conquering every planet in their path. The colonists knew they stood little chance, but Mira refused to surrender without a fight. The Skarr fleet arrived much sooner than anyone in the colony had anticipated. The dark, menacing shapes of their warships filled the skies over Astra Nova, blocking out the sun and casting long shadows across the land. The colonists, who had been preparing for this moment, could only watch in horror as the massive ships descended from the heavens. Their hearts pounded with fear, but they knew there was no turning back now. Captain Mira Thorne, standing in the command center, could see the fear in the eyes of her people. But there was no time for hesitation. With a determined look, she gave the order to engage the enemy. The colonists, despite their fear, obeyed without question. They activated the defense systems, manned their stations, and prepared to fight for their lives. The battle began with a deafening roar as the colony's defense systems fired at the approaching Skarr ships. Lasers and missiles streaked across the sky, aiming to take down the invaders before they could reach the ground. For a brief moment, it seemed like the colonists might have a chance. But that hope was quickly shattered. The Skarr were far more powerful than the colonists had imagined. Their ships were equipped with advanced technology, far beyond anything the humans possessed. The Skarr weapons cut through the colony's defenses like a knife through butter. The colonists fought with everything they had, but it was clear that they were outmatched. The Skarr soldiers, ruthless and efficient, showed no mercy as they targeted the colony's weak points. One by one, the colony's defenses began to fall. The barriers they had so carefully constructed crumbled under the Skarr's relentless assault. The defense systems, once their greatest hope, were quickly overwhelmed. The colonists who had volunteered to fight bravely held their ground, but they were no match for the Skarr's superior firepower and combat skills. As the battle raged on, Mira could see the situation growing more desperate by the minute. Her people were fighting with all their might, but they were losing. The Skarr were pushing forward, their victory seeming inevitable. Mira's mind raced as she tried to think of a way to turn the tide, but every option seemed hopeless. They were running out of time. In the midst of the chaos, as explosions rocked the colony and smoke filled the air, a sudden and unexpected message appeared on the colony's communication systems. It was from the Skarr leader, Overlord Zorak. The image of the alien leader filled the screens, his cold eyes staring down at the colonists with disdain. "Surrender," Zorak's voice boomed through the speakers, "and your people will be spared." His tone was calm, almost mocking, as if he already knew the outcome of this battle. The colonists, weary and afraid, looked to Mira for guidance. Mira listened to Zorak's words, but she knew better than to trust them. The Skarr were not known for their mercy. They had a reputation across the galaxy for being brutal conquerors, leaving nothing but destruction in their wake. Surrendering might save them for the moment, but it would only delay the inevitable. The Skarr would take what they wanted and then destroy them anyway. Mira stood tall, her resolve hardening. "We will not surrender," she declared, her voice filled with determination. She knew it was a gamble, but surrendering to the Skarr was not an option. The colonists had worked too hard, built too much, to give up now. The battle continued to rage on, but now the colonists knew they were fighting not just for their survival, but for their freedom. They would not let the Skarr take their home without a fight. Even as their defenses crumbled around them, they held on to the hope that somehow, some way, they could still find a way to survive. Just as hope seemed lost, an unexpected event occurred. The ground beneath the colony began to shake, and a massive structure emerged from the earth. It was an ancient alien weapon, long buried and forgotten. The colonists had unknowingly built their homes on top of it. The weapon was unlike anything they had ever seen. It pulsed with energy, and when activated, it sent out a wave of destruction that tore through the Skarr fleet. The tables had turned, and the Skarr were now on the defensive. Mira, realizing the weapon's power, ordered her team to use it to its full potential. With each pulse, more Skarr ships were obliterated. The once impossible battle was now winnable. The Skarr retreated, their fleet in ruins. Overlord Zorak, defeated, offered a truce. "We underestimated you," he admitted. "You have proven to be a worthy adversary. Let us end this conflict." Mira, weary but victorious, agreed. The weapon's power was too dangerous to use recklessly, and she knew the colony could not survive another attack. The Skarr promised never to invade Astra Nova again, and in return, the colony agreed to remain neutral in future galactic conflicts. The colonists returned to their peaceful lives, but they were forever changed. They had discovered a power hidden within their world, and they had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. Captain Mira Thorne had led them through their darkest hour, and they had emerged stronger than ever. The silent colony had found its voice, and it would never be silenced again.